Hey EFCA pastors and church leaders. Once again for this July edition of the Better Together Brief, we're choosing not to focus on a bunch of district news and updates, but rather instead we're focusing on a particular topic that we think is especially relevant for these summer months. It's the subject of rest and renewal. And in this newsletter, you'll find a variety of helpful resources that will hopefully assist you in focusing on that very important subject as well. So often as church leaders, when we get too busy, when we get overwhelmed, when we're sort of living on the edge of burnout, I think many times we just attribute that as just a time management problem. We've just got too much to do and too little time to do it, and we just got to kind of figure that out. And that may be part of the issue. But more often than not, I think many times the problem runs deeper than that. Many times it's actually a theological problem. And you may say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I think many times as Christians, we fail to maintain in our minds a healthy distinction between the Creator and the creature. God said to us in Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." And I think what he's saying to us there is listen, just slow down, just stop, take a break long enough to remember that I'm God and by implication, you're not. And it's that last point that I think especially as church leaders, we sometimes tend to forget. In very subtle ways, we tend to attribute to ourselves almost divine-like attributes. So we think that we should somehow be able to know it all and do it all, that we should be able to see the future, look down the pike and see every challenge and strategic opportunity that's coming our way and be ready for that. We think that we should have answers for everybody's questions. We think that every idea that's presented to us, we should be able to make that happen. Every need that presents itself, we should be able to meet that need. We think that we should be able to check off every box on our to-do list every single day. And in subtle ways, we fancy ourselves to be God. We think that somehow we're omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. And listen, I've got news for you. You and I, we're omni-nothing. And I had a healthy reminder of that this summer as I've been reading a good little book entitled "You Were Never Meant to Do It All" by Kelly Kapik. It's a 40-day devotional on the goodness of being human. Let me just read to you an excerpt from this. He says, "How often do you and I feel like we're letting God down because we don't get more done each day? But finitude is not sin. Adam and Eve were created finite and they were called good. We sometimes wrongly attribute all our problems to sin when in fact they are often a matter of running up against the limits inherent in being creatures rather than God. Because of the fall, we all live with a disordered view of our healthy limits. Therefore, we need to appreciate anew the goodness of being creatures, which includes our physical, mental, and emotional limits. Instead of feeling like we need to ask God forgiveness for not being able to do everything, we may need to ask His forgiveness for ever imagining that we could." Boy, that strikes home for a guy like me who's very driven, who loves productivity, who loves efficiency, who loves getting things done. That's a good word for me, and maybe it is for you as well. You'll find this book and a variety of other helpful resources like it linked in this newsletter below. And all of these resources are designed, again, to help you engage healthy rhythms of rest, not only physical rest, but just resting in the Lord. And God's desire for us is not just that we would serve Him well in the short term, but that we would have those kind of sustainable rhythms that would enable us to serve Him over a lifetime for the long haul. And so thank you so much for your faithful ministry. I appreciate all that you do. I'm praying for you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.